Imagine a night with no visible moon, no moonlight illuminating the sky, and yet, during the luscious part of the monsoon, this dark lunar night becomes associated with something completely different. Hariyali, or greenery. This is Hariyali Amavasya. And why would the darkest night of the lunar month become connected with trees, nature, and new life? And why does this particular Amavasya hold significance during Sawan? To understand that, we first have to understand Amavasya itself. Every lunar month moves through different phases of the moon. There is Purnima, the full moon, and at the opposite end of the cycle is Amavasya, the new moon Tithi. Amavasya marks the end of the Krishna Paksh, the waning half of the lunar cycle. Because the moon is positioned near the sun from our perspective on Earth, its illuminated side is turned largely away from us. And so around the astronomical new moon, the moon becomes essentially invisible in the sky. But in the Hindu calendar, Amavasya isn't simply an astronomical event. It is a tithi, and Amavasya has long carried religious importance in different Hindu traditions. It is particularly associated with remembrance and rites for one's ancestors. Amavasya days are traditionally regarded as appropriate occasions for Shravan and ancestral observances. And then, one particular Amavasya arrives during the monsoon. In much of North India, the Amavasya occurring during the month of Shravan is known as Hariyali Amavasya. The word itself tells us something. Hariyali means greenery. And just look at the world outside during Sawan. The intense heat of summer begins giving way to monsoon rain. Dry landscapes become green, fields awaken, trees are washed by rain, plants begin growing vigorously, the landscape itself seems to come back to life. And so Hariyali Amavasya sits at a beautiful intersection. The lunar cycle, the monsoon, and humanity's relationship with the natural world. One of the traditions strongly associated today with Hariyali Amavasya is planting and honoring trees. And I think there's something beautiful about that, because trees aren't merely decorative with Indian religious culture. Certain trees have carried sacred associations for centuries. The peepal, the banyan, the bilva, whose leaves we've already encountered throughout Sawan Diaries in the worship of Mahadev, and many others. Trees provide shade, they provide food, they shelter animals and birds, their roots protect soil, and during India's monsoon season, the land provides the moisture young plants need to establish themselves. So the association between Hariyali, greenery, and planting during the rains make practical sense as well as devotional sense. But I want to make an important distinction here. We shouldn't claim that Hariyali Amavasya was invented as an ancient environmental holiday, unless we have a textual source demonstrating that. That's a modern way of describing it. Instead, we can say that tree planting, reverence for nature, and greenery have become important parts of the way Hariyali Amavasya is observed in many places. But What about our ancestors? This is where Hariyali Amavasya becomes especially interesting. Because underneath the Hariyali traditions, it is still Amavasya. And Amavasya has a long-standing association with ancestor remembrance. For some families, that can include prayers, charity, food offerings, or sharad according to their particular tradition. The details vary enormously, and this is important. Not every Hindu family performs exactly the same ritual on Amavasya. Some traditions emphasize ancestors, others emphasize particular deities, some observe Vrat, some visit temples, and many families have customs passed from one generation to another. But the connection between Amavasya and remembrance of one's ancestors is much broader than Hariyali Amavasya alone. Because we're discussing this during Sawan Diaries, it's easy to assume Hariyali Amavasya must exclusively be a Shiva festival. But that's not quite right. Shravan itself is deeply associated with Mahadev, and Shiva temples in some regions hold special observances on Hariyali Amavasya. But regional traditions are much broader. In Mathura and Vrindavan, for example, Krishna temples also hold special Hariyali Amavasya darshan. The famous Banke Bihari Krishna Vrindavan is among the Krishna-centered observances associated with the occasion. So once again, we're seeing something we've encountered repeatedly through Sawan Diaries. Sanatan Dharam does not always give us one identical practice across every region. The same tithi can carry different devotional expressions in different communities. And here's something especially important for those of us living outside India. If you search Hariyali Amavasya online, you may encounter different descriptions depending on the calendar being followed. Remember what we discussed earlier in Sawan Diaries? Different regions calculate their lunar months using different systems. Much of North India traditionally follows the Purnimanta system. Several western and southern regions follow the Manta system. Because the months begin and end differently, the same lunar tithi can be assigned to a differently named month depending upon the regional calendar. That's why a festival associated with Shravan in North India can correspond to a differently named lunar month in another regional calendar. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody's calendar is wrong. They're counting the lunar month differently. And that is exactly why understanding the Hindu calendar matters. But there's something about Hariyali Amavasya that I personally find especially beautiful. Think about the contrast. Amavasya represents darkness. The moon disappears from our night sky. And yet on earth, everything is becoming green. Rain is falling, seeds are germinating, trees are growing, fields are filling, life is appearing everywhere. Perhaps that's one reason this day feels so visually powerful. The sky may be dark while the earth is bursting with life. And whether we approach Hariyali Amavasya through devotion, remembrance of our ancestors, planting something new, visiting a temple, or simply appreciating the natural world around us, the day gives us an opportunity to notice something we often take for granted. Our lives are inseparable from the world that sustains us. Sawan isn't only a month of fasting, it isn't only Mondays, and it isn't only stories about Mahadev. As we've traveled through this month together, we've discovered an entire devotional rhythm. Somar brings us to Shiva, Mangal Gauri brings us to Mata Parvati, Shivaratri brings us into the sacred night, and Hariyali Amavasya brings our attention to the new moon, our ancestors, the monsoon, and the greenery surrounding us. But devotion isn't expressed only through a puja, vrat, or offerings. Sometimes devotion becomes action. It can be feeding someone who is hungry, giving water to someone who is in need, caring for animals, helping at a mandir, supporting someone who is struggling, or quietly doing something good without expecting anything in return. Seva. But what exactly does seva mean? And are there meaningful acts of seva that we can practice during the sacred month of Sawan? That's what we will explore next in Sawan Diaries. Because perhaps one of the most beautiful offerings we can make to God is what we do for others. Until then, Har Har Mahadev.